Hi guys, I hope you're all keeping well and safe. Welcome to Early Years Matters TV. So today's video is a continuation video in relation to holistic development in early childhood, but with the focus on intellectual or cognitive development. Yes, in today's video, I'm going to continue on the series of holistic development in early childhood, but my focus is going to be on intellectual cognitive development. So for the past few weeks on this channel, I've been focusing on holistic development. I started off by looking at holistic development as a whole and physical development. Now it's going to be all about intellectual or cognitive development. So if you've not watched my last two videos in relation to holistic and physical development, I'm going to leave the link down below so that you can keep up to date in relation to what this is all about, because it's a series so that you will not be able to miss out and you can follow the whole process in relation to what is holistic development in early childhood and looking at the branches of holistic development in early childhood. Let's talk about intellectual or cognitive development. So, what is intellectual or cognitive development? So, when you hear the word intellectual or cognitive, just think of it has to do with the brain, it has to do with the memory, it has to do with the thinking. So in relation to intellectual or cognitive development, it's all about the young child using their imagination, their brain, memory, thinking. This is what intellectual or cognitive development in early childhood is all about. Remember, in my last video, it's all about taking a total approach to child development, holistic development. Now, looking at the strand of the intellectual or cognitive development is you thinking about how you can be able to look at this as a total package, as a whole, in relation to early childhood, in relation to supporting the child's learning and development. So, intellectual or cognitive development is all about the memory, the child being able to think, child being able to solve problems. So, this is what intellectual or cognitive development is all about. So now that you know what this is all about, let's talk about some activities that you can use to promote this. So in relation to cognitive development, there are lots of activities that you can incorporate into your early childhood classroom or as a parent to promote or cognitive development. So now let me give you some of this activity: puzzles or jigsaws. So when the children are solving puzzles or jigsaws, they're going to be using their brain. It requires them to think. It requires them to problem solve because they are joining the dots. They are joining puzzles together. So they are going to think, does this puzzle goes to the left or this puzzle goes to the right? So all of this has to do with the young child using their brain, imagination, their problem solving, their thinking. So where will I put this puzzle? Where will I put the jigsaw so that all of it will come together as a whole? So in relation to this is all about intellectual or cognitive development. They are thinking, they are problem solving, they are pausing, they are looking at the puzzles, they are looking at the jigsaws. How are they going to put it together to make a whole puzzle or a whole jigsaw? So what is going on there is intellectual or cognitive development. So they are making use of their brain, their imagination, their thinking, their memory, their problem solving. So this is an kind of intellectual or cognitive development. So now let's talk about storytelling. Getting in storytelling with the young children, they are going to be able to problem solve. They are going to be able to use their imagination. For instance, if questions such as, what do you think is going to happen in the next page? Or what do you think is going to happen to the dog? What do you think is going to happen to the cat? They have to pause, they have to think. A lot is going on in their brain. They're trying to problem solve. Okay, hang on a second there. What do I think is going to happen in the next page? So a lot of things is going on in their brain. They're thinking, they're pausing, they're following the sequence, they're following, they're thinking of what is going to happen in the next page. So what's going on there is intellectual or cognitive development. They're making use of their brain, their imagination, their thinking, their problem solving. Storytelling does promote intellectual or cognitive development as well. But I'm going to encourage you, if you're going to be asking the children questions, make sure they are open-ended questions that will require them to think, that will require them to pause, that will require them to use their imagination, their memory, their thinking. So they are pausing for a while. What do you think is going to happen to the dog? What do you think is going to happen to the cow? What do you think is going to happen to the cat? So they are hanging on the second, they are thinking. So what do I think is going to happen as a result of following the sequence of the story? So storytelling could also be an activity you could incorporate in your early childhood classroom as a parent to promote intellectual or cognitive development. Now let's talk about outdoor play as well. So you can use different types of play, but I just want to focus on outdoor play for the purpose of this video. So in relation to outdoor play, the children are outside, they're exploring. So when they or what's happening, they're making use of their brain, their imagination, their memory, they're thinking, what am I going to do? They're running around. How are they going to run, hide and seek? Where are they going to hide? If they're playing, what do they want to play with? What are they going to touch? What they don't want to play with? So a lot is going on. They're figuring things out. This is also intellectual cognitive development. They're figuring things out. How are they going to play? What they want to play with? Who they want to play? What type of play they want to engage in outdoor? So you can see that a lot is going on in terms of intellectual or cognitive development. They're making use of their memory. They're pausing. They're thinking. So outdoor play could also be an activity that you could incorporate to promote either as a parent or an early childhood educator or an imagined early childhood educator to promote intellectual or cognitive development in early childhood. So now let's talk about circle times. So when the children are engaging in art and craft, for instance, they are painting, they are going to be able to decide what type of paint do they want, how they want to paint, what color they want to paint with, the types of that want, the type of tool they want. So all of this has to do with the young child using their imagination, their thinking. So what do I want to paint? How do I want to paint? What color do I want to paint with? A lot is going on. The children are using their imagination. They're using their brain to think. They're problem solving. Their problems paint with. What color do I want? What paint brushes do I want? What color of apron do I want? So a lot is going on. They are thinking. Their nation. These also promote intellectual or cognitive development as well. So I can go on and on in relation to activities that you could use to promote intellectual or cognitive development. But I hope after watching this video, after watching intellectual or cognitive development aspect of holistic development in early childhood is all about, and some activities that you could use to promote this in your early childhood classroom. So if you know of other activities that could be if you with intellectual or cognitive development in your early childhood classroom or even as a parent, can you leave this in the comment below? We all want to learn. And do not forget to subscribe to this channel. Subscription is free. Why don't you just subscribe so that you would not miss valuable content in relation to early childhood care and education on this channel? And not just only subscribe, turn on the notification bell so that whenever a new video of this type is on this channel, you will get the notification. And until I come your way next time, stay safe and mind yourselves for now. Bye.